pain was interfering with Tiffany's active lifestyle. Same-day hip replacement at the Adina Orthopedic and Spine Institute got her back to the community she calls home. At Adina, we do what we love, so you can too.
Many places around the state of Ohio, you probably drive by an Ohio historical marker much like this one. And probably odds are that 90 to 95% of the people that drive by them have never taken the time to stop and see what they say. Well, that's part of a series that we want to do here on Leonard Media to discuss what these markers are talking about in particular places in various communities. I'm Mike Smith with Leonard Media, and joining us today we have local historian Kevin Coleman of Intrepid Heritage Services. And this opening segment, we're going to be talking about the original Statehouse for the state of Ohio, which was located in Chillicothe, Ohio. Now, since the 1850s, the Ross County Courthouse has been what people have been seeing on this corner. But before 1853, it was another building, which was the original Statehouse. And Kevin, if you could tell us a little bit about that original Statehouse before we talk about the county courthouse.
Well, first of all, it was built by the county as the courthouse, but it was soon rented by the new state, and so it was the courthouse during the summer months, it was a Statehouse during the winter months. So it was always a courthouse for a short time, actually 2 periods, it was the Statehouse. And
the replica of that original Statehouse is what used to be the building owned by the Chillicothe Gazette.
Yes, and I call that a 150% replica. It's a bit grander and bigger and fancier. It's not the kind of really accurate replica that we might want to do today, but it does give an idea of the massing, the shape, the impression that that building would have had for the first 50 years here in Chillicothe.
So is the replica the approximate size of that original Statehouse?
I think it's a little bigger.
And what was the building, the original Statehouse, constructed of? What the materials that were used?
Our local sandstone, the Berea sandstone that caps our hilltops. And actually it was quarried from what was then known as Quarry Hill. It is now known as Grandview Cemetery. And if you go up to the cemetery, the back part of it above Paint Creek, if you know what you're looking at, there is a ledge at the back where that cap of sandstone was quarried off and used for buildings like the courthouse and the old stone house at the south end of Paint Street.
So how long did that original Statehouse stand at the site of the current Ross County Courthouse?
It was built in either 1800 or 1801. I need to check my sources. You may remember a big hullabaloo about St. Clair's headquarters.
Yes.
And Pat Metter did research on that, and she corrected the date of the construction, which is in one of her many volumes on Chillicothe. But it was built right around 1800. It was in use before it was completely finished, and then it was torn down soon after the Great Fire of 1852, and then several years later, this was finally built, our current 1850s courthouse.
And you said that the county courthouse, the current courthouse, was made of the same type of sandstone?
No, not this one.
Okay.
This is actually sort of an exception to Chillicothe. We have some of our local sandstone in use, surprisingly not much. Mm-hmm. This is actually a brick building covered in limestone, or rather dolomite, which was quarried near Bainbridge. The way the rock layers are tilted, that older rock layer is exposed closer to the surface there. And actually, when the commissioners paid about $1 million to renovate this about 10, 15 years ago, they reopened one of the original quarries to replace some damaged stone.
Wow, and probably that quarry hadn't been used for how many years?
Probably at least 100.
Wow, amazing. Amazing the history that's right in our backyard that you might be missing. So the next time that you see one of these Ohio historical markers, take the time to stop by and read what's on them. History in your backyard. A big thanks to our producer, Aaron Glandon, and for Kevin Coleman of Intrepid Heritage Services. I'm Mike Smith with Leonard Media.